Being supercharged with antioxidants while tasting amazing, it's no wonder that matcha's popularity has skyrocketed over the years. We've already learned how we can make matcha ice cream with just 3 ingredients in this video up above, but today we're going to learn how to make matcha tea at home. I'm going to share with you a few styles. The first style is called Usucha, which is the style that everyone's probably most familiar with. It's characterized by a thin layer of tea topped with a beautiful layer of foam on top. The second style is called Koicha, which is a thicker, creamier style as compared to Usucha and a lot more intense in terms of its flavor profile. And last but not least, if you don't have any of the tools that we're going to use to make the Usucha or Koicha later on, or if you simply do not have the time, then make sure you stick around to the end because we are going to learn a fast speed method on how we can make matcha tea at home as well. If at any point in time you enjoyed this video, don't forget to smash the like button, subscribe and turn on the notifications. Now let's break it down. To make good matcha tea, we'll need to choose a good matcha. But how do we go about doing that? First tip, use your eyes. Here we have 3 different grades of matcha and as you can see they have 3 different shades. High quality fresh matcha should come in a vibrant green like this because of the high levels of chlorophyll it contains. Lower quality matcha however will have a yellowish or brownish hue due to the lower quality leaves used or due to oxidation. Second tip, use your nose. High quality matcha should have a sweet vegetal aroma and this is definitely present in the vibrant green matcha we saw earlier. It may however not be so obvious in lower quality matcha or it may not be even present at all. Tip number 3, feel the matcha. High quality matcha will have a fine and smooth feel to it and will have a consistency similar to eyeshadow. The last tip would be price. When purchasing matcha, you tend to get what you pay for, and the highest grade of matcha is known as ceremonial grade matcha, but no matter what grade of matcha you may want to use, I would always recommend checking out the reviews from other customers to make sure that their matcha is a high quality brand. Because there's no official certification process of what can constitute ceremonial grade matcha, it's important that you choose a brand that's well reviewed and still meets your budget. The first style of matcha tea we're going to learn how to make today is called Usucha and it is characterized by a thick layer of foam on top. So let's get started by putting some water to the boil. Once the water has boiled, take it off the heat and we'll come back to it later. Now we'll need a Chawan, which is basically a tea bowl. There are 2 styles of Chawans. The first one does not have a spout, so you'll be making and drinking the matcha straight from the bowl itself and that's very traditional. The second style will have a spout like this, which will be very helpful for us when we want to pour the matcha out of the bowl into another cup for making drinks like matcha lattes. Both styles are fine and we're actually going to use both today. Now with a Chawan and a bamboo whisk known as a Chasen, we're going to add some hot water to the Chawan to heat it up, not too much, no more than 1/3 of the bowl. If you want, you can also gently swirl the water in the bowl. Now put your bamboo whisk into the hot water and start gently swishing it around. This will help disinfect the bamboo whisk and loosen the wooden fibres so we can achieve a better foam with the matcha later on. Once you're done, set aside your bamboo whisk and dump the water out of your Chawan. Now with a tablecloth, dry both the inside and the outside of your Chawan. Now get ready your matcha, a tea sifter and your Chashaku, which is a bamboo tea scoop. Place your tea sifter on your Chawan and add about 2 bamboo scoops worth of matcha powder. If you don't have a bamboo scoop, just go ahead and use 1 teaspoon of matcha powder. Now with the back of your bamboo scoop or your teaspoon, slowly sift out any lumps in your matcha powder and this is going to help us get a really smooth drink at the end. Now the ideal temperature to brew our matcha tea is about 80 degrees Celsius or 175 degrees Fahrenheit. Anything above that will be too hot and you'll make your matcha tea bitter no matter what grade of matcha you use. To make Usucha, we'll want to add about 70 ml or 2.3 ounces of warm water. And with a hand holding onto the Chawan, we're going to insert the bamboo whisk into the center of the Chawan and gently start whisking. We're going to start off slow and gradually pick up speed as we whisk in the general M or W motion. Make sure you use your wrist and not your arm. You should also try your best to make sure that the bamboo whisk doesn't actually scrape the bottom or the sides of the Chawan. After about 1 to 2 minutes, you should develop a really nice layer of foam on top of your matcha tea. As you slow down, try to break up any of the larger bubbles that you see and very gently lift the bamboo whisk out from the center of your bowl. Now you can actually enjoy your Usucha directly from the Chawan itself, or if you're like me and your Chawan has a spout, you can actually pour it into a tiny teacup as well. The second style of matcha tea is called Koicha. It is much thicker and more intense in flavor than Usucha, and unlike Usucha, it does not have any foam. As before, make sure you warm up your Chawan and bamboo whisk with some warm water, dump the water out, dry your bowl, and then you're ready to go. So this time we're gonna up the amount of matcha that we're using, so add 3 to 4 bamboo scoops worth of matcha powder or about 2 teaspoons of the same. Sifting the matcha powder properly is crucial for you to get a smooth koicha. Next, add 40 ml or about 1.3 ounces of warm water, and this water must be at the ideal temperature that we spoke about earlier. And this time we're gonna use a different technique for our bamboo whisk. Because we don't want any foam, we're gonna use the bamboo whisk to very slowly knead the matcha powder into the water. So move your bamboo whisk in an up-down motion, accompanied by some circular spins. Do this until all the matcha powder has been dissolved and you achieve this beautiful jade green koicha. And if done right, there should be no foam on top of the koicha. So if you don't have any of the tools I mentioned earlier in this video, or if you would like a fast-free way to make matcha, then here's my tip. Grab a decent sized jar like this and make sure that the cap can seal the jar properly. And just like in the Usucha recipe, we're going to add about 1 teaspoon of matcha powder and about 70 ml of warm water. Now here comes the fun part. We're going to seal our jar up, make sure that it's tight, and we're going to give it a good shake. You may have noticed that we did not actually sift the matcha powder this time. You can do so if you want to, but from my experience, it does not really make a big difference when you're making a matcha tea in a jar. After about 1 minute of shaking, you should see a nice layer of foam on top of your tea, and that's it, your fast-free matcha tea in a jar. It may not taste as smooth or creamy as the Usucha, but with the convenience and the time required, this is a good trade-off. Now here's one last tip. If you're in the mood for a cold drink, you can always add some ice to your matcha tea and top it off with some cold water. Give it a good stir and you're good to go. However, since the water will dilute the drink, feel free to add more matcha at the start to suit your taste. So there you have it, now you know how to make matcha tea at home as well. Matcha tea is increasingly becoming a part of my daily routine and you should make it as well because it's so gosh darn good for you. I'm actually thinking of making a matcha latte video now. What do you guys think? Do you want to see that? If you do, let me know in the comment section below. And by the way, feel free to follow me on Instagram. Some of you guys have started tagging me in your videos and photos and I absolutely love seeing them, so do keep them coming. If you enjoyed today's video and have not done so already, don't forget to like, subscribe and turn on the notifications. And feel free to check out the rest of my videos here and here. That's all from me today. This is Teacup signing off.